Today, we'll be talking about the drivers who will be competing for the Truck Series Championship on Friday night, and I will tell you which driver will win the 2022 Camping World Truck Series Championship. What's going on, guys? It's Daniel, and welcome back to our video. We're going to start off with talking about Chandler Smith. Chandler Smith is the first driver of the four we'll talk about today. Chandler Smith has scored 3 wins so far in the 2022 season, has 8 top 5s this season, 15 top 10s, has had 440 laps, and has a 9th place average finish. Those 3 wins, I believe, came at Las Vegas, Pocono, and then I believe a few weeks ago at Richmond. So he's had a really solid year in different variety of tracks he's been able to win. Chandler Smith is definitely one of the most consistent drivers so far this year, but he does have the 3rd most top 5s of anybody on this list, meaning he has a second least amount of top 5s of people on this list, and he's tied currently for 2nd of the most top 10s going into this weekend. Now, Chandler Smith's had a little bit of inconsistencies in this class, but overall, Chandler Smith and his 18 team, I kind of felt like because he had more practice qualifying this year, I really felt like going into this year that Chandler Smith was going to be more of a threat to go out there and win this year, and indeed he has been. He's been more consistent than he was last year. He kind of struggled at the beginning of last year, but as the year progressed in 2021, he got a lot better. And while he did not end up basically going out there and making it to the championship four, he did, I believe, score 2 victories last year and now has a chance to win his first ever Camping World Truck Series Championship. And we're going to a track where he won at last year, basically at the end of the season. Now, he didn't win the championship last year, but he did have a chance to win it. And this year, he'll have an opportunity to go out there and try to win a championship. Chandler Smith's definitely one to watch, and I think he's a driver to definitely keep your eyes on this weekend at Phoenix. The second driver we're talking about is Zane Smith. Zane Smith has had a breakout year in 2022. He has scored 3 wins so far in the 2022 season. He has 13 top 5s, which is the most of anybody that's in these 4 drivers. He has 18 top 10s, which again is the most of anybody on this list. He has led 415 laps here, the 2nd most laps of anybody. And he has an 8th place average finish, which I believe is the best average finish of any driver that is full-time driver in the Truck Series field. The big thing, though, for Zane Smith is Zane Smith got a lot of those wins early in the season. Zane Smith won at Daytona. He won a Circuit of Americas. And I can't remember the other track he won. I think it was Kansas. So he got his last win in May. Now, Zane Smith's definitely been extremely consistent, but it doesn't seem like the 38 team has been as good in the playoffs. So they've been solid in the playoffs. They haven't been as good in the second half of the year as they were in the beginning of the year. For the first half of the year, they were the championship favorites, but they kind of have fallen off. But they were consistent enough and strong enough and got a lot of points throughout, especially at Homestead and Talladega, where they were good enough and were able to advance to the championship four. And Zane Smith's been pretty decent at this track. He actually nearly won the championship last year in that 21 for GMS Racing, but unfortunately got passed by Ben Rose late and finished 2nd. So this isn't the first time with Zane Smith. In fact, he's one of only 2 drivers that is on this list who is going to try to go and win a championship that was going for a championship last year. Zane Smith, though, I expect to be very, very strong in that number 38 car. Their short track program's been very, very solid, and they probably have been saving up because they probably have been thinking that they were going to make the championship four. So I think Zane Smith is definitely going to be a really strong competitor against these drivers, and I think he'll put up as much of a fight as anybody here. I think he will be a threat to win, but we'll have to wait and see what happens. The third driver who will be competing for a NASCAR Camping World Truck Series Championship is a driver who's in for the first time in his first full-time NASCAR Camping World Truck Series season, Ty Majeski. Ty Majeski has scored 2 wins, but those have come very, very recently. He won earlier this year, Bristol, a few races ago, back in the decider for the round of 12 for the Cup Series, and also decided for the round of 8 in the Truck Series. Actually, the race decided who goes to the Championship 4 for the Truck Series. And then Ty Majeski also won a couple weekends ago at Homestead Miami Speedway. He has 10 top 5s this year, which is the 2nd most on this list. He currently has 15 top 10s, which is tied for 2nd of the most on the list. He has led 306 laps and has a 9.6 average finish. At the beginning of the season, Ty Majeski was very solid, but was not always the most consistent driver. But ever since really the second half of the year began, this 66 truck has been coming on strong. And he's had a lot of really strong finishes. While he did not win Indianapolis Raceway Park, Grant Enfinger won that. He was extremely fast in that race and led a ton of laps. While he didn't win Rich and Chandler Smith ended up winning that, he was really, really fast there at Rich and led a ton of laps as well in that 6.6 truck, but unfortunately lost the race on pit road, but did get a top 5 finish. It has been extremely consistent. So much, he's only had, I believe, 1 finish outside the top 10, and majority of his laps, like I said, have come in the last few races. Ty Majeski is definitely for sure going to be a threat going into this weekend. You're going to have to, of course, watch out for Ty Majeski. And I think that number 66 car, without Fast Store Sportsman, he'll be looking for his first championship, which would be really, really cool. Ty Majeski really hasn't come, really kind of came from nowhere. And now he's got a really strong opportunity and a really good chance to win the Truck Series Championship. Hopefully Majeski can be a threat so we can go out there and try to win the championship. And the final driver who will be competing for Truck Series Championship is Ben Rose. Now, Ben Rose is a defending Camp World Truck Series Championship. He won 2 races last year. This year, Ben Rose has not had as good of a year consistency-wise and winning-wise as he had in 2021. Ben Rose only has 1 win so far, and that came at Bristol Dirt. He's had 7 top 5s, 12 top 10s this year, which is the least of anybody here. He has 263 laps led this year and has a worse average finish, and he only won above a 10 average finish with a 12.1 average finish. Ben Rose was really good at the beginning of the year and was extremely consistent at the beginning of the year. But I do feel like, especially in the second half of this year, I think Ben Rose has kind of fallen off. But Ben Rose did enough. He had a really strong run at Talladega where he probably should have gotten penalized for what he did at Talladega. Let's be honest, but it is what it is, and sometimes you have to do things you don't really like to do. But Ben Rose is really, really fast, and he did have a really good run at Homestead. Wasn't fast. He actually led a lot of laps, but unfortunately, I think he won the first stage, but kind of fell off in the second half, and that truck fell apart. But he kind of had team orders that really helped Ben Rose go out there and be able to make the championship for him. But the thing, like I said, for Ben Rose, he is a champion, and he's trying to become the first back-to-back champion in the Truck Series, I believe, since Matt Crafton did it in 2013 and 2014. Ben Rose are very similar. They're both from ThorSport. Will teammates be able to help him out? Who knows? I don't think Majeski is going to help him since Majeski is going to be out there trying to win the Truck Series Championship. But Ben Rose, I think, will have a little bit of advantage as he has that experience going into Championship 4, and we'll see if the 99 team can really show up this week. But he's the last driver competing. He's been the worst performer of the 4 here. He's had a good year, don't get me wrong, just not as good this year as he was last year. So we'll have to wait and see how he does, but he's the last driver who will be competing for a Camping World Truck Series Championship, and we'll have to see if Ben Rose can get it done. He's got the experience, he's got the willpower and all that to try to go out there and win, and if he wins the championship, he can probably drink some Bud Lights, have more Bud Lights, and get drunk more than he did in the post-press conference last year. We'll see what happens. Ben Rose is the final guy competing for the championship. So now those are the 4 guys who are competing for the Camping World Truck Series Championship. Let's talk about who I think is going to win the championship. First of all, let's get the guys who I think are not going to win the championship. First one, Ben Rose. I don't think Ben Rose is going to win the championship. Ben Rose has been a little bit too inconsistent. I don't trust the 99 team. They did run pretty solid here at Phoenix, but they weren't the fastest car. I think they ended up finishing 4th or 5th last year in the race. Yes, they did win the championship, and they do have that experience, but I don't think Ben Rose is going to get it done. Sadly, I think Ben Rose is going to finish the worst of the 4. The 3rd place finisher of the 4 championship drivers, I think, is going to be Zane Smith. Now, I do expect that Zane Smith is going to be more a threat this year than he was last year just because Zane Smith has been really, really strong. And Front Row, in their 2nd year or 3rd year as an organization in trucks, they've had a really good year in the Truck Series. However, I don't think Zane Smith's going to get it done. I guess he does have the best average finisher, probably the most deserving. I think he's got the most points as well this year as well in the regular season standings. But unfortunately, I don't think Zane Smith's going to have the pace and speed to get it done. I think the championship is going to come down to 2 drivers, and that is going to be Chandler Smith, and that is also going to be Ty Majeski. These 2 have been the best, in my opinion, so far, especially in the last 10 weeks of the guys that remain in the championship. Chandler Smith has been overall probably one of the best drivers so far throughout the entire season, and Ty Majeski's been really quick. Now, last year, Chandler Smith did win this race. Yes, he didn't get to compete for a championship, but he won this race last year, so he does have that advantage. But Ty Majeski, like I said, has been extremely consistent. So, who do I think is going to win the championship? Well, I do think that Chandler Smith deserves a championship a little bit more. I'm picking Ty Majeski to win the 2022 NASCAR Camping World Truck Series Championship. You heard that right. Ty Majeski is my pick. Look, I normally would go with Chandler Smith because he has that experience from winning this race last year, and it was really between these 2 who I was going to pick. However, Ty Majeski, in my opinion, has been the best driver so far in these playoffs. He's at top 5 after top 5 and top 10 after top 10, and he's the only driver that remains in the playoffs that has scored multiple wins in the playoffs. And guess what? His 2 wins have come in the playoffs this year. Plus, he's been coming on strong over the last few weeks. Had a great race at Bristol. Had a very solid race at Talladega. I think he led a few laps there and did end up winning at Homestead. He's won 2 of the last 3 races, and he's got a ton of momentum. So I think that Ty Majeski this Friday is going to be your 2022 NASCAR Camp World Truck Series champion. I'm picking Ty Majeski. I think he gets it done to 66 team, and will get ThorSport their 2nd straight championship as an organization. They've won a lot of championships as a brand, and I think no exception this year. They're going to go back-to-back in championships, and they're going to get their third championship in the last 5 years. So I am picking Ty Majeski to be your 2022 Camping World Truck Series champion. So, that is going to be for the 2022 NASCAR Camp World Truck Series predictions. I want to thank you guys for watching. Please subscribe to the channel, turn notifications on, so be notified when a video does go live on my channel. Follow me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, and support me on Patreon as well. Links description below over that, and comment below your thoughts on today's video. Who do you think is going to win the 2022 NASCAR Camp World Truck Series Championship? Let me know in the comments below. Later today, we're going to have a NASCAR news video up on the channel. In fact, it's probably going to be coming up a few hours after this video goes live, and that will be coming up. Also, happy Halloween to everybody. We've got a lot of content on the way for you guys. Again, happy Halloween, but a lot of content coming to you guys over the next few weeks and the next day as well. This is Championship Week and a lot of content on the way for you guys. Tomorrow, we've also got the NASCAR Xfinity Series Championship 4 prediction as well. That is going to be coming out. So anyway, like I said, I want to thank you guys for watching today's video, and I'll see you guys next time for some more great, awesome NASCAR content and other motorsports content on the channel like this. Take care, everybody.